I thought before I started I should give you a bit of an introduction to Ecclesiastes so you know beforehand why things are going to look the way they do. Ecclesiastes is a Greek word, which is a Greek translation of the Hebrew Koheleth. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that right, but that's how it looks in English anyway, which means one who convenes a meeting, which is generally understood to mean preacher. You see how things get sort of moved around as a meaning of a meaning of a meaning a lot of times in Scripture. And so that's why it's sometimes very hard to understand quite what the intention is, because you have to know things that you might not know. In verse 9 of chapter 1, there's a little phrase which, if you didn't pick up on it, wouldn't mean anything to you, but which colors absolutely everything in this whole book, at least the first 10 chapters of it. It's called Under the Sun or In the Sun. Can't remember which one. It was one of the two. And what that means is, without any scriptural or spiritual knowledge or understanding, it means simply looking at things as they would be observed by an individual, man or woman, who had no understanding that there was a God, that there was a gospel, that there was any good news, that there was life after death, that there was a reason and a purpose for everything. And because it looks at all of the troubles that a person might, well, not all, but many of the major problems that a person might face in life, from the standpoint of there not being a gospel and there not being a God, or at least the person not knowing that there is, there tends to be a very pessimistic attitude in the first 10 chapters. In the 11th and 12th chapters, the whole attitude changes pretty dramatically. But this is a teaching method that was common and very negative, and then at the end they would show that in fact there was hope. And so I will proceed now, but keep that in mind, because that will color virtually everything in the first 10 chapters. Is based on the belief that, or the understanding of the person who's giving this, that there is no gospel, there is no God, he has no understanding of life after death, nothing. It is strictly as an observer looking in from the outside, as though what he observed was all there was. I am so glad we have the Scriptures to know that there is a lot more than what we just see. So, Ecclesiastes chapter 1. The words of the preacher, the son of David, king in Jerusalem. Vanity of vanities, saith the preacher, vanity of vanities, all is vanity. What profit hath a man of all his labor which he taketh under the sun? One generation passeth away, and another generation cometh, but the earth abideth forever. The sun also ariseth, and the sun goeth down, and hasteth to his place where he arose. The wind goeth towards the south, and turneth about unto the north. It whirleth about continually, and the wind returneth again according to his circuits. All the rivers run into the sea, yet the sea is not full. Unto the place from whence the rivers come, thither they return again. All things are full of labor. Man cannot utter it. The eye is not satisfied with seeing, nor the ear filled with hearing. The thing that hath been, it is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done, and there is no new thing under the sun. Is there anything whereof it may be said, see, this is new? It hath been already of old time, which was before us. There is no remembrance of former things, neither shall there be any remembrance of things that are to come with those that shall come after. I, the preacher, was king over Israel in Jerusalem. And I gave my heart to seek and search out wisdom concerning all things that are done under heaven. This sore travail hath God given to the sons of man to be exercised therewith. I have seen all the works that are done under the sun, and behold, all is vanity and vexation of spirit. That which is crooked cannot be made straight, and that which is wanting cannot be numbered. I communed with my own heart, saying, Lo, I am come to great estate, and have gotten more wisdom than all they that have been before me in Jerusalem. Yea, my heart had great experience of wisdom and knowledge. And I gave my heart to know wisdom, and to know madness and folly. I perceived that this also is vexation of spirit. For in much wisdom is much grief, and he that increaseth knowledge increaseth sorrow. In verse 2, it starts off with saying, Vanity of vanities, saith the preacher, vanity of vanities, all is vanity. And then he asks the question, what profit hath a man of all his labor which he taketh under the sun? This is again from the standpoint of there is nothing more to life than what we have. One generation passes away, another generation cometh, but the earth abideth forever. In other words, everything is just going on and on and on. But there doesn't seem to be any special rhyme or reason for why man is here. All things are full of labor, man cannot utter it, in verse 8. The eye is not satisfied with seeing, nor the ear filled with hearing. In other words, there doesn't seem to be any point to what it is. And that's what it is. In verse 9 it says, and there is no new thing under the sun. And this man, who basically was the king, and this is I the preacher was king over Israel, verse 12, in Jerusalem, and I gave my heart to seek and search out by wisdom concerning all things that are done under heaven. This sore travail hath God given. And it would seem as though he's looking at this and saying, this sore travail, this hard work hath God given to the sons of man to be exercised, to be tried, to be ground down, to be worked with. And he said, I have seen all the works, in verse 14, that are done under the sun, and behold, all is vanity and vexation of spirit. And on the outward observation, if you do not understand that God is helping us here to fit us for a eternal and much better life than we have here, that is how it might look to somebody who's on the outside, looking in and just making observations. It says in verse 50, that which is crooked cannot be made straight. In other words, you can't fix anything. And that which is wanting cannot be numbered. You can't find out how to fix anything. Verse 16, I communed with my own heart, saying, Lo, I am come to great estate. I mean, he was supposed to be the wealthiest king on the earth at that time. And he was famous for his wisdom. And I've gotten more wisdom than all they that have been before me in Jerusalem. My heart had great experience of wisdom and knowledge. And then verse 17, I gave my heart to know wisdom, and to know madness and folly. And I perceived that this also is vexation of spirit. And then, again, we talked about this being pessimistic and negative, for in much wisdom is much grief. And he that increases knowledge increases sorrow. This is the point of view that you're going to run across in this whole chapter as he discusses this whole book, as he discusses the things of life. When you get to chapter 11 and 12, you'll see a different attitude. But from the outside looking in, this is what some people see. And it's no wonder why, if that's what they look at, they are disappointed.